Back here with head coach Lee Burgess. Coach, obviously got a little tighter there at the end than you wanted, but what does it say about this group of guys, first off, the resiliency after holding multiple leads of double digits that big, letting them crawl back and take the lead, and you guys still don't fold and just keep pushing ahead?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot here recently about how to handle adversity better, because it's something we haven't been good at times, and we certainly saw that today. I mean, we faced adversity there in the second half, and did not play our best in the second half. But you used the word resiliency, and that was the word that was used in the locker room. Just how resilient we were today, not to fold, and to stick with it, and to make the necessary plays to win. We can certainly learn from this game, especially in the second half. We can learn from it. Much better to learn in a win than to learn from a loss. So we'll certainly be thankful for that. But yeah, very, very proud of the guys and how we competed.
One thing that Garrett said to me just a moment ago that stuck out was that you guys have known all season that you're better than your record indicates, and obviously now on a 2-game win streak and with 2 more home games, you guys have a chance to show that. And gotta talk about that a little bit. You know, how you may have been overlooked a little because of the tough start, but there were some close games in there.
Sure, yeah. Overlooked or not, I mean, I think really all we can worry about right now is us. I do think that in that locker room we all have the belief that we are better than what we have shown, and I think we are hungry to go prove that, to ourselves really, to show that we are. And had a big win on the road Saturday. This was a big win here for us to win this game, and like you mentioned this weekend, big homestand to finish out the regular season at home. I do want to say, just how hungry our guys were, how competed. We went and played at their place, and we won the game, but we were minus 15 on the glass in that game. They're obviously a very big, physical team that competes really, really hard, the team that we were playing. So we were minus 15 on the glass. I believe we were plus 2. I know you're looking at it right now. We're plus 2 or plus 3 on the glass.
I think it was plus 2 in the rebounding department.
We go from minus 15 at their place to plus 2 here, and I think that it speaks tremendously to the grit that our guys showed, and how hungry we were to go play hard and play well.
Absolutely, man. 71-68 on Saturday, 74-72. I think some of your players could be some theater majors. They got a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
I'm going to start calling them the cardiac nados.
I wish it wasn't that way, but we'll take it. I mean, I'm not complaining, but, I wish we could have closed this one a little bit better, but we're going to, like I told them today, enjoy it tonight. We're going to be off tomorrow. We'll get back at it on Thursday, and we'll get ready for Methodist Thursday. We'll also learn from some of the things that we need to get better at from this game too.
Absolutely. On the same note, though, with it getting close, when you're at home and have the environment like we had tonight, as opposed to a blowout where people may get out of it in the stands, whatnot, on the bench, in those close games, I feel as if that might bring the team together even more than winning by 20 or 30.
Yeah, well, for sure. I mean, we talked about the team being resilient. Obviously, the group on the court was resilient. Our bench stayed engaged the whole time as well. And as that thing started to tighten up, definitely heard the guys that were on the bench, staying invested, rallying up energy, talking to the guys on the floor. There was no real panic from anybody, except maybe me. But no real panic from anybody, and just knew we needed to play better. We needed to do some things differently, do some things better. But that we were confident that if we did those things, we were going to come out on top.
Absolutely. And Matthew Brown, number 24 on Greensboro, 18 points, double-digit rebounds, a double-double. And obviously, I know that you knew the ball was going to him on each of those last 2 possessions. I asked Garrett about this. Talk a little bit about the defense, those last 2 possessions, to force somebody that's dominating in the paint to miss both of those shots.
He's really good. And he is a matchup problem for anybody in this league. He's a really good player and is playing really well right now, too. So we certainly thought that the ball would probably find him down the stretch, and really just talk to our guys about being physical, being solid, being real smart with their help, and just not bailing him out with a foul. And so I thought we did those things really, really well. Made him score the ball over the top. He had to score it over some traffic. We were smart with our help, but there was congestion down in there, and we were fortunate to get a miss. So I thought we executed that part of it really, really well down the stretch. But he is a really, really tough cover. He's a very good player.
Absolutely. And wanted to ask, what does it mean for you as a coach? Obviously, you guys are, as every team is at this point in the season, you're dealing with some things. I mean, your leading scorer is playing, not as many minutes as he was at the beginning of the season, but then you've got a guy like Garrett Sutherland that you can stick in the lineup. He'll get you 15 free throws at the end, defense at the end. Just talk about the depth that you guys have.
We do have depth, and we've needed it because, I mean, when we went and played them at their place, Quincy was out. He didn't play in that game. LB was coming off the bench, like you mentioned. He still is coming off the bench now, but we do have that depth where if we got a couple of guys that aren't performing as statistically as much as we're accustomed to them performing, we're able to count on some other guys to step up and carry that load. And like LB's credit, he didn't play as many minutes. He was saddled with some foul trouble tonight, which contributed to that. But when guys are used to scoring points and they're not scoring all of those points, it's important that they stay within the construct of what we want to do as a team and not try and force it where they're hunting their own stuff. And LB's been great at that. All of our guys have been great at that. And the ball will find you when it's the right time to find you, and then we got to be ready to go make the play. And we've been able to count on a lot of guys on our team doing that.
Yeah, you talk about that depth, and every player that checked in tonight got into the scoring from top to bottom, so 100%. And at the beginning of the game, so those first 10 minutes, you guys just couldn't miss. What does that feel like as a coach when you guys on both ends just seem to be doing everything right?
Yeah, it's like don't mess it up, right? As a coach, it's like, what do you tell them? Keep doing what you're doing.
With every timeout, you're like, I hope it doesn't go away right here.
It was a great start. We did talk about trying to punch them first, punch first and be ready to go when the game starts and don't tiptoe into it. And obviously we did that really, really well. And it helps when the ball's going in, for sure. Now, we had the flip of that against Southern Virginia on Saturday. They started the game up 12-0. Not because we weren't ready to go. We were. The shots just weren't falling for us. And so that was the flip of the discussion. Like, hey, keep doing what we're doing. Don't panic with it. We're going to climb back in this thing, and we were able to do that and come out on top. But when this situation happens, you just try to keep feeding it. Hey, keep rolling, keep doing what you're doing, making the right play, shooting the right shots, and we can be pretty efficient offensively when we're doing it that way.
I won't say inevitable was the word, but there were a few times where it seemed like this game was going to have to end up coming down to the wire the way it did. It seemed like you guys would get a punch, as you called it. Greensboro would get a little bit of one, and then you guys would weather the storm. That happened about 3 or 4 times, and then they went on their big run about the 8-minute mark in the second half. So it felt like it was going to be one of those games, super chippy, scrappy game, and it just, like you said, like we talked about, it speaks to the resilience of these players to be able to, still win after giving up a sequence like that.
Yeah, no, it was chippy. It was a physical game. Both teams played hard. Both teams played physical. It was a physical game. I think we got a little bit tentative in the second half. It's like you're playing with a lead. We haven't done that a lot this year, playing with a lead like that. And so, we might have gotten a little bit tight. We did. I mean, we had 11 second-half turnovers. And so that was something we talked about at halftime. Needed to take care of the ball. Thought they would amp up their pressure a little bit. Thought they would trap us a little bit more than they did in the first half. And that's what they did. We just didn't handle it real well. And I think part of that just was some tentativeness, by us. However, I do felt like our competitiveness stayed there while we were trying to search out offensively kind of how to play, with that lead, and we didn't do that real well. I do think defensively we did stay competing. They're a very good team, and offensively very, very talented. Matthew Brown is really, really good, and number 5 for them is statistically not a great three-point shooter, and he banged a couple threes over the top, in the second half to kind of keep chipping away at that lead. And they're a hard team to keep pinned down because they do have a lot of explosiveness offensively.
Yeah, 100%. You could feel it. They're a really athletic, really good team. They were going to be held down that bad for that long.
Right.
But you guys were able to withstand the blow a few times. And so last thing, Coach, I don't want to take too much of your time, but this is the first game of the 3-game homestand. You guys come out with a big win. You've got 2 games this weekend, and I'm not sure how much scoreboard watching you guys do around the conference, so I'll let it be my job to do that. Southern Virginia and Pfeiffer both had 4 conference wins. You guys picked up your 4th conference win tonight. Both of those teams lost tonight, and now you sit 1 game behind Greensboro, who is sitting in that 4th spot. So you guys are really poised to capitalize this weekend on that and get yourselves back into that top 4.
We certainly can, yes. There's a lot of scenarios out there. I was talking about that today with some other people, that other people are interested in that for sure, and our guys pay attention to it. We don't talk about it a ton as a team. I mean, we can only control what we can control, but there's scenarios out there where going into these last 4 games, we could split the 4 games and still make the conference tournament. There's scenarios where we could win 3 or 4 and not make the conference tournament. There's just so many variables right now that are outside of our control. What we can control is how we prepare and how we play. And so far, Southern Virginia, and then tonight, we've done that well enough to get a win. And Saturday's going to be the same thing. Let's control what we can control. All that other stuff will shake out how it shakes out, and let's just go be ready to play on Saturday.
Absolutely. Well, looking for a second straight trip to the conference tournament, and tonight goes a long way in securing that spot and making that happen. Congratulations on the win, Coach.
I appreciate
Always
it.
a
Thank
pleasure.
You. Yep, thanks.